You've already mentioned that U.S. drills and the atmosphere in the situation are generally very tense. In the past days and hours, we have seen multiple articles in the Western media claiming that Russia is plotting a military invasion in Ukraine. And supposedly the United States even warned that EU partners that Russia is preparing such an invasion. Notably, we can see concurrently that the United States and NATO are conducting an exercise right at our borders in the Black Sea. How do you assess the entire situation? I have not seen such alarmist declaration so far at least, but I suppose it is as you say. Indeed, the United States and their NATO allies are presently conducting an unscheduled, and I want to stress that it is unscheduled, drill in the Black Sea. They deployed a powerful naval group, and they are also using the Air Force in the drill, including strategic aviation. Here is a part of the answer to your previous question about where and how our strategic missiles carriers fly. They use the B-51, which are pretty old aircraft, but it is not the carriers that matter. The point is that they have combat strategic weapons on board, which is a grave challenge for us. I should say that our defense ministry also suggested holding an unscheduled drill in the area of the Black Sea. But I do not think it is expedient, and there is no need to aggravate the situation there even further. For that reason, the Russian Defense Ministry has limited its actions to escorting their aircraft and ship. This is number one. Second, regarding Ukraine. We are being urged to implement the Minsk agreements and are often accused of not observing them. However, when we ask our partners, including in the Normandy format, exactly which part of the Minsk agreements Russia is not fulfilling, and what, in their opinion, Russia is supposed to do under the Minsk agreements, we get no answer. That is exactly what they say. We cannot pull it in our words. I'm not kidding. This is the dialogue we are getting. And what exactly have the Luhansk and Donetsk people republics failed to do regarding the Minsk agreement? There's no answer either. Again, they cannot put it into words. Meanwhile, they publicly demand that we implement them. And now the second issue regarding who the party to the conflict is. The Minsk agreements do not state that Russia is a party to the conflict. We never agreed to this and never will. We are not a party to it. Meanwhile, what are the Kyiv authorities doing? Let me remind you of the most recent history. The acting president made a decision to engage armed forces to resolve the conflict in the southeast, in Donbass. It was the first attempt to resolve the issue by using military force. Then Mr. Poroshenko, who by the time they had become president, made the second attempt, despite efforts to convince him otherwise, of using the military to resolve the issue. We are well aware of how this attempt ended and what tragedies it brought. It was they who started it. Now the current president merely reports that they are using the back barriers, that is, unmanned combat aerial vehicles. This is aviation. Even though it is unmanned, it is still aviation used in the conflict zone, which is strictly prohibited by the Minsk agreements and subsequent agreements. However, it elicits no response whatsoever. Europe said something inarticulate about it, while the U.S. is in effect supported it. Meanwhile, Ukrainian officials say outright, "We use them and will continue to use them further." Concurrently, they arranged unscheduled drills in the Black Sea. There is an impression that they do not want to let us relax. Well, they should know that we do not relax anyway. In this format, under such conditions, does it make any sense to have a Normandy format meeting with both the European partners and Ukraine insists upon? I have not heard the latest insistent suggestions, although we are discussing it. I think we do not have any other mechanisms, and however hard the situation is today, However difficult solving this issue might be, these mechanisms, so at least they approach us the settlement of the problems we are talking about.